The following question is from the guest, Discourse number 6, May 1979.
The second question, Beloved Bhagwan, what is love? Swami Anand Talis, love is the radiance, the fragrance of knowing oneself, of being oneself. Anand Talis is very young. He is only 9. But he is far ahead of his age. His mental age must be almost double, near about 18. Hence the question. Love is overflowing joy. Love is when you have seen who you are, then there is nothing left except to share your being with others. Love is when you have seen that you are not separate from existence. Love is when you have felt an organic, orgasmic unity with all that is. Love is not a relationship, Talis. Love is a state of being. It has nothing to do with anybody else. One is not in love, one is love. And of course, when one is love, one is in love, but that is an outcome, a byproduct. That is not the source. The source is that one is love. And who can be love? Certainly, if you are not aware of who you are, you cannot be love. You will be fear. Fear is just the opposite of love. Remember, hate is not the opposite of love, as people think. Hate is love is standing upside down. It is not the opposite of love. The real opposite of love is fear. In love one expands, in fear one shrinks. In fear one becomes closed, in love one opens. In fear one doubts, in love one trusts. In fear one is left lonely, in love one disappears, hence there is no question of loneliness at all. When one is not, how can one be lonely? Then these trees and the birds and the clouds and the sun and the stars are all within you. Love is when you have known your inner sky. And Talis, this is the right moment, the right age to enter into the world of love. This is the time when parents, the society, the state and the church go on poisoning children and make them afraid. This is the time when fear is created by the exploiters. This is the time when society reduces small children into slaves. And one can be reduced into a slave only if great fear is created. This is the time also, if the society is sane and is not dominated by stupid politicians and priests. If the society is not pathological, then this is the time when the society will help the children to become more and more loving. Will help the children to know more about beauty, about music, about poetry, about dance, about meditation. This is the time when the child can simply take a plunge without any difficulties. Later on, it will become more and more difficult. Because as you grow old, fears also grow old and stronger. As you grow old, the ego becomes more strengthened. As you grow old, your capacity to learn decreases. As you grow old, you become more and more cowardly, afraid of the unknown. The young child is free of fear. Children are born without any fear. If the society can help and support them to remain without fear, can help them to climb on the trees and on the mountains and swim the oceans and the rivers. If the society can help them in every possible way to become adventurers of the unknown, and if the society can create a great inquiry instead of giving them dead beliefs, then the children will turn into great lovers of life. And that is true religion. There is no higher religion than love. Thalis, meditate, dance, sing, and go deeper and deeper into yourself. Listen to the birds more attentively. Look at the flowers with awe, wonder. Don't become knowledgeable. Don't go on labeling things. That's what knowledgeability is. The great art of labeling everything, categorizing everything. From this age, start playing guitar or learn playing flute. Meet people, mix with people, with as many people as possible, because each person expresses a different facet of God. Learn from people. Don't be afraid. This existence is not your enemy. This existence mothers you. This existence is ready to support you in every possible way. Trust, and you will start feeling a new upsurge of energy in you. That energy is love. That energy wants to bless the whole existence. Because in that energy one feels blessed. And when you feel blessed, what else can you do except blessing the whole existence? Love is a deep desire to bless the whole existence.
The following question is from Take It Easy, Discourse Number 2, April 1978.
The third question: why does it feel like you are dying when you are in love? Is falling in love a suicidal desire, or just a self-destructive instinct, like the lemmings march to the sea, or a moth's flight into a flame? It's weird. Love is death. But the one who dies in love has never existed really. It is the unreal self, the idea of an ego, that dies. So love is death. It is suicide. It is dangerous. That's why millions of people have decided against love. They live a loveless life. They have decided in favor of the ego. But ego is false. And you can go on clinging to the false, and the false will never become real. So the life of an egoist always remains in insecurity. How can you make something unreal real? It is always disappearing. You have to cling to it. You have to constantly create it again and again. It is a self-deception. And it creates misery. Misery is the function of the unreal. The real is blissful. Satchidanand. The truth is blissful. And the truth is awareness. Sat means truth. Chit means consciousness. Anand means bliss. These three things are the qualities of truth. It is so, it is alert, and it is blissful. Unreality is misery. Hell is that which does not exist but you create. And heaven is that which exists but you don't accept. Paradise is where you really are, but you are not courageous enough to move into it. And hell is your private creation. But because it is your creation, you cling to it. Man has never left God, lives in God, but still suffers because he creates a small hell around himself. Heaven need not be created. It is already there. You have to relax and enjoy it. Hell has to be created. Take life in a relaxed mood. There is no need to create anything. And there is no need to protect anything. And there is no need to cling to anything. That which is will remain whether you cling to it or not. And that which is not cannot remain whether you cling to it or not. That which is not, and that which is. You ask, why does it feel like you are dying when you are in love? Because the ego, the unreal, dies. Love opens the door to the real. Love is the threshold of the temple. Love opens you towards God. It brings great joy. But simultaneously it brings great fear. Your ego is disappearing. And you have invested so much in the ego. You have lived for it. You have been taught and conditioned for it. Your parents, your priests, your politicians, your education, your school, college, university, they have all been creating your ego. They have been creating ambition. They are factories to create ambition. And one day, you find yourself crippled by your own ambitions, caged by your own ego. You suffer much, but the whole life you have been taught that this is valuable. So you cling to it. You suffer and you cling to it. And the more you cling, the more you suffer. There come moments when God comes and knocks at your door. That's what is love. God knocking at your door. Maybe through a woman, through a man, through a child, through a love, through a flower, through sunset, sunrise. God can knock in millions of ways. But wherever God knocks, you become afraid. The priest, the politician, the parent, and the created ego, it is at stake. It starts feeling dying. You pull back. You hold back. You close your eyes. You close your ears. You don't hear the knock. You disappear back into your hole. You close your doors. Love feels like death. It is. And those who want to be really blissful have to go through that death. Because the resurrection is possible only through death. Jesus is right when he says you will have to carry your cross on your shoulders. You will have to die. He says until you are reborn, unless you are reborn, you will not see my kingdom. You will not see what I am teaching to you. And he says, love is God. He is right, because love is the threshold. Die in love. It is far more beautiful than to live in ego. It is far more true than to live in the ego. Life in the ego is death in love. Death in the ego is life in love. Remember, when you choose ego, you are choosing real death, because it is death in love. And when you choose love, you are only choosing unreal death, because to die in ego, you are not losing anything, because you had nothing from the very beginning. That is the whole emphasis of Ikku's Doka yesterday. You are not. So why be afraid? Who is going to die? There is nobody to die. With whom you are clinging, whom you want to save, make safe, whom you want to protect and armor. There is nobody. There is only emptiness. Emptiness, utter emptiness. Listen to Ikku's song. Accept this emptiness and the fear will disappear. Be a mat. When you find the flame of love burning bright, be a mat. And jump into it. And you will lose the false and you will gain the real. And you will lose dreams and you will gain the ultimate. You will lose something which was not there and you will gain something which has always been there.
The following question is from This Very Body, the Buddha, Discourse number 10, December 1977.
The seventh question. Why are people so afraid of being loved? Krishna Gopa has asked it. People are afraid of being loved because love brings misery. Love brings lies. Love brings imprisonment. Love brings slavery. Love destroys freedom. That's why people are afraid. And people cannot remain without love, because love is a necessary nourishment too. So they hanker for love. They desire to be loved and to love. They cannot remain alone. But the moment they meet the person, the other, the woman, the man, they become frightened too, because they know now they are getting into a cage. Because love is not yet unconditional, that's why people are afraid of love. And because love brings so many compromises, they have to compromise so much that they almost lose their original face. That's why people are afraid. And they cannot remain without it either, because it is a necessary nourishment for the soul. In fact, because it is a necessary nourishment of soul, that's why people have learned to exploit it. If it was not such a necessity, then there would have been no exploitation. Love is such a necessity that you can exploit, you can make conditions, you can say, I will love you only if you do this. I will love you only if you will love only me and nobody else, and never. And I will love you only if you accept my conditions. These are the conditions. And a hungry man is bound to accept the conditions. He starts lying. He starts playing games. He starts being phony. He starts doing things which he never wanted to do. And he stops doing things which he always wanted to do. And then sooner or later, he thinks it is too much a price for love. It is better not to be in love. It is better to be alone. So people go on moving from aloneness to love, from love to aloneness. When they are alone, the hunger is felt. When they are together, the ugliness of it. I have heard the weary old priest arriving in heaven before St. Peter. No more service, rest at last. St. Peter, just choose yourself the softest cloud and sleep. You have earned your rest. With a deep sigh, the priest sinks himself in a woolly heavenly cloud and dozes off. But then there is no real rest. Every now and then, little bells ring and wake him up. After some hours, in a state of total neurosis, he gets up out of his cloud, runs up to St. Peter and complains, "What do you mean by I can rest? This is a hell. Hear those penetrating bells ringing every time I am just falling asleep. I'm so sorry, but I can't do a thing about it. You will get used to it. They are only part of the system of registering whenever a serious lie is being told down on earth. Now that you know, they won't bother you anymore. Sleep well." And sure as hell, Peter's words came true. After retiring to his cloud, the priest falls in a deep sleep. But then in the middle of the night, he jumps with a scream, grabs his head, goes mad in a second. Thousands of bells ringing all around with thunderous noise. "Peter, Peter, save me." What is happening? Peter is there already and covers the ears of the poor priest with his loving hands. Poor man, this is the hour when lovers meet and say beautiful things to each other. Love brings 1,001 lies in life. It is humiliating. One feels caged, imprisoned, compromised. One feels paralyzed, crippled. One feels chained in 1,001 ways. That's why, Gopa, people are afraid of love. One of my basic messages to you is never exploit love. And that will be a great religious revolution in your life. Never exploit love. If somebody loves you, don't bring any conditions to it. If you love somebody, don't make him a cripple. Let your love become spacious. Give more space to the person than he had when he was alone. Give him nourishment, but don't poison his nourishment. Don't possess him. Let him be free, more free than he ever was. And then love grows into deep intimacy. When love brings freedom, then love goes deepest. When love makes the other feel respected, not humiliated, not destroyed, but enhanced. When love feels nourishing, liberating, then love goes deepest. Then love becomes prayer. It becomes the utmost, the ultimate experience of life.
The following question is from the guest, Discourse number 5, May 1979.
The first question. Bhagwan, you the fountain of love, our source is in thee. Loving thy will, our spirit is free. This beautiful day that all of us see, the hope of the world is love. Gyan Nirmal, love not only is the hope of the world, but the only hope. Man has lived up to now an absolutely loveless life. All the societies and the cultures and the religions that have existed on the earth have talked about love, but lived a very loveless existence. Much talk about love has happened in the past, but the structure that societies have created is basically against love. The society is geared for war. And a society that is geared for war can only talk about love, but cannot live it. We have come now to the peak of this ugly, stupid structure of hatred. We have come to the point where either man is to change totally or will have to die. The new man can be born only with a new heart, with a new soul. And the flavor of that soul will be love. And the poetry of that heart will be love. A society that lives lovelessly is competitive, ambitious, obsessed with money, power, prestige. A society that lives without love lives through beliefs. Beliefs divide people, and all divisions breed war. A society that lives without love lives a very lustless existence, because without love there is no splendor in life, no significance. No song arises without love in the heart of man. We have come to the point, or we are coming, approaching every day. By the end of this century, man will have to choose either total destruction or a revolution. A revolution not political, not social, but a revolution of the heart. A turning point is coming closer every day. You have to be prepared for it. Sannyas has to become a herald for a new world. The first ray of the dawn. Man is reaching towards total war. All preparations are there to commit a global suicide. This is what your history has brought you to. All the Alexanders and all the Napoleons and all the Stalins and all the Hitlers and all the Maos, they have been working for centuries and centuries. Now their dream is going to be fulfilled. We can destroy this whole earth within seconds. Destruction has reached its peak unless creativity also reaches to its peak. Man cannot be saved. And to me, love is nothing but the birth of creativity in you. By love, I mean an overflowing heart. Love to me is not only a relationship. The relationship that we call love is a far away, distant echo of the real thing. The real thing is not a relationship, but a state. One is not in love, but one is love. Whenever I talk about love, remember this. I am talking about the state of love. Yes, relationship is perfectly good. But the relationship is going to be false if you have not attained to the state of love. Then the relationship is not only a pretension, it is a dangerous pretension. Because it can go on befooling you. It can go on giving you the sense that you know what love is and you don't know. Love basically is a state of being. One is not in love, one is love. And that love arises not by falling in love with somebody. That love arises by going in. Not by falling, but by rising, soaring. upwards, higher than you. It is a kind of surpassing. A man is love when his being is silent. It is the song of silence. A Buddha is love. A Jesus is love. Not in love with a particular person, but simply love. Their very climate is love. It is not addressed to anybody in particular. It is spreading into all directions. Whosoever comes close to a Buddha will feel it, will be soured by it, will be bathed in it. And it is unconditionally so. Love makes no conditions, no ifs, no buts. Love never says, fulfill these requirements, then I will love you. Love is like breathing. When it happens, you are simply love. It does not matter who comes close to you, the sinner or the saint. Whosoever comes close to you, start feeling the vibe of love, is rejoiced. Love is unconditional giving, but only those are capable of giving who have. One of the most mysterious thing about man is that he goes on giving things which he don't have. You go on giving love and you don't have it in the first place. And you go on asking love from others who don't have it in the first place. Beggars, begging from beggars. Love first has to happen in the deepest core of your being. It is the quality of being alone, happily alone, joyously alone. It is the quality of being a no mind, of being silent, contentless consciousness is the space, the context in which love arises in you. And when it arises in you, it is so much. It is unbearable. Its pleasure is so unbearable that it becomes almost pain. It is heavy, like the clouds which are full of rain. They have to shower. They have to rain. They have to unburden themselves. When love arises in the silent heart, it has to be shared. It has to be given. You are helpless. And the person you give your love is not obliged to you in any way. In fact, you are obliged to the person because he helped you unburden. He shared something that was too much in you. And the economics of love is the more you give, the more you have. Because in your silent being, you are joined with the oceanic, the divine source of all. And you can go on sharing. More and more goes on flowing in you. It goes on welling up. Gyan Nirmal, yes, you are right. Love is the only hope of the world. And we are coming close to that turning point. Either total war or total love. And this is a question of either or. There is no third alternative. There is nothing like a compromise now. You cannot be in the middle. Man has to choose. And it is a question of life and death. War is death. Love is life. By creating you here, by creating sannyasins here, I am creating a new kind of space. This is the beginning of a totally new man. Hence, the old traditions will be unable to understand what is happening here. They don't have any criterion. The experiment is so new. Yes, once in a while, a man like Buddha, Kabir, Krishna, Christ, Zarathustra has happened in the past, but only individuals. Now only individuals want to do. Only a Buddha here and there won't be of much help. The world has gone too much into hate. The world is so full of hate that it is almost like an ocean of hatred. And a Buddha will be just a spoonful sugar. It won't change the taste of the ocean. We will need thousands of Buddhas. Hence, I am not interested in Christians. I am interested only in Christ. I am not interested in Jainas. I am interested only in Mahaviras. I am not interested in Buddhists. I am interested only in Buddhas. My effort here is not to create a following, not to create believers, but to create individuals, lovers, meditators, who can stand on their own, and each one can become a light, and we will need. The night is going to become darker and darker every day. We will need millions of light around the world. Millions of people who are capable of love, unconditionally, without asking anything in return, and who are so silent, and who are so blissful, that wherever they are, they will be able to dissipate darkness. Yes, Gyan Nirmal, love is the hope of the world, the only hope.